Okay, so hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. And today in this video, we're doing kind of like a Vanguard discussion video where I'm going to explain is Vanguard dying. Now, a lot of people or just a lot of you maybe already watched this kind of video in the past, and there a lot of controversy due to V series being too amazing. But like, kind of like sarcasm aside, this video is gonna be a little bit different where I'm going to kind of like make as a context to ensure a lot of people that no, Vanguard is not going to die, even though people may seems or see it kind of like that way. But no, I don't think Vanguard is going to die very soon, and the Vanguard overdress will technically make the game a little bit better now. Now I'm going to explain why is it and like why Vanguard is not dying and things like that, and maybe kind of like to, if I may say, give another perspective to people that are watching today. And this is a positive video, so I don't want to make this negatively, so it's just another way for me to contribute to the community where I'm just going to rambles on is Vanguard is technically not going to die very soon. So first of all, we're going to talk over as a context, we're going to talk about the three main TCG, kind of like the big three, even though I'm going to talk about two of them due to being Pokemon. It's not really gameplay focused, because like even Pokemon players that actually play the game, people said that is the players count is more or less same like Vanguard, but they're more like on the market side due to being the cards really are kind of like people, a lot of people collect Pokemon cards more, they collect more than playing the game, kind of like where you want to get Charizard or things like that. Even like the newer card, they still really want it. Now that's Pokemon. Now we're going to talk about like the aspect of another TCG where they are focused on the gameplay, kind of like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, and of course Vanguard. Vanguard's technically the top 4 of this TCG kind of like competition, or just ranking, I guess. Now let's just go over with Magic the Gathering first. Is that even a card game that is 20 years old, where we are as a Vanguard basically is 10 years, where even last year we already celebrated like the 10 years anniversary where we get like the gift marker and also the storage box. But now this year we're going to get sleeve and a lot of merch. Now that's Vanguard. It's 10 years, it's basically on the middle age, I guess, on the teenager, I guess, already hit almost adulthood. But like the point is that like Vanguard is on the middle of its age now. Now they make a lot of mistakes, especially last year. More like the Zarzan or something like Luard or Gurgut or something like that. Now let's just talk about Magic the Gathering. Now Magic the Gathering have even still to this day, like couple of months or last year, basically they still have a product issue. Now what I mean by product issue, let's just say in Vanguard, kind of like Luard set, where we have Luard, we have Spike Bro, we have Tachikaze and Mega Colony in the same booster box, where it's pretty bad actually, kind of like it's imbalanced and people don't care about Tachi or just stuff like that, where basically revolves around product issue, where the product didn't sell enough and it's just a lot of hectic and things like that. Now even Magic the Gathering to this day, like they still have a lot of problems where figuring out what product that is work for the player. Now let alone Vanguard that is 10 years old right now, and like even Magic the Gathering we're 20 years old or more, still figuring out things like that with where it's going to work within the player. Basically the simple example that I'm going to say is Walking Dead, the secret layer for Walking Dead, kind of like a problem, or also kind of like there are pro and cons to that, and mostly cons though. And if you ever kind of like watch the more famous content creator for Magic the Gathering, such as like the Tolarian Community College, basically the professor, or even Command Zone and things like that, where they kind of like criticize some of the product on Magic the Gathering. It's just another context that to this is just I know that like even Vanguard have like way more problem, not just product issue, but it's just kind of like an eye-opening to maybe people that do have not kind of like not sure or have no idea that even the game like Magic the Gathering still have product issues. So it's a little information that yeah, even like a lot of card game make mistakes. So that's another thing. Now another way that I also kind of want to explain is for power creep. Let's just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh for a second. Now people that play Yu-Gi-Oh, or like even one of you that play Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe still if not agree or disagree, but it's still a problem on Yu-Gi-Oh definitely, is that newer player is kind of like have difficulty to play or at least into the game as a currently right now. Now the reason why it is kind of like that is due being Yu-Gi-Oh is not a rotating card game. Now, even Vanguard said it itself that Vanguard is not a rotating kind of like card game, but that's a really interesting way is that even Vanguard making mistake where V Premium, Premium, and now D Series is kind of like more or less just do or die for Vanguard, where if this work, then this actually really positive thing for Vanguard in it by itself, because now we have a lot of format. We have like the more complicated format like Premium, the eternal format. We have kind of like on the nostalgia theme, kind of like V Premium. We also have this like newer and kind of like more fresh Vanguard that is different with like the D series. Now it's really interesting where Vanguard can have that advantage more than what Yu-Gi-Oh actually have right now, due to now Vanguard is so easy to new players to get into it, because now the most complicated things is on Premium nowadays. Now that is why is that like even like rebooting have pro and cons, but even Yu-Gi-Oh now starving for rotation. Now the reason why is that as great as a ban list are, it's not prominent, or more or less it's not reliable to make the TCG way more healthier. It's still a problem within like the, if I may say, on the card game in it by itself. So I'm not saying that Yu-Gi-Oh is a bad card game. No, it's a top 3 for a reason, but kind of like they have problem making like new player in, basically. Even speed duels, a lot of pro and cons on speed duels do being that like quote unquote V Premium or just V Standard on Yu-Gi-Oh kind of like speed duels. Now there are a lot of problems even in Yu-Gi-Oh to this day where you may have no idea about. Like the reason why I make these videos to you understand that even a card game such as Yu-Gi-Oh faces this kind of problem, where even Vanguard right now you cannot say like, oh, like Vanguard rebooting again or things like that and stuff like that. Oh, Zarzan or Luwad, oh, now the card game is going to die or something like that. No, there are a lot of long ways for basically the card game to just shut down or got cancelled anyway. And Vanguard, it's not seems that way. Even right now, it looks way better than ever nowadays. Now, that is why that I kind of think that to, just like I said before, give you information that Yu-Gi-Oh faces problems to this day, where they kind of like figuring out how to simplify the game, and it's a problem on Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, another thing that I also kind of want to say is that like the positive thing on what basically, if you kind of like see the meta of Yu-Gi-Oh, you may understand it, where the much simpler way to explain this is that just watch like the Yu-Gi-Tuber on like Simo. Just go with Simo, I guess, with a pretty good example for this. Just go watch Simo ban list, just like watch the ban list for in the Simo video. Sometimes like Simo, this content creator kind of like speak, or just, if I may say, kind of like this random word that they saying, kind of like, oh, this should not be banned or something like that. Oh wow, banned, great, or something like that. And it's just another way to see that even Yu-Gi-Oh ban list is not as healthy as what Vanguard really are. Just another give you perspective that it's normal to have this kind of thing happen like on Vanguard, because like most of the card game do have kind of like this kind of problem where ban list thing that is things like that, and like sometimes the game become really high rolly, and just the game determined by a dice roll or something like that. Even Yu-Gi-Oh faces this kind of problem, and remember that Yu-Gi-Oh is 20 years old, even more than 20 years old at this point, and Vanguard still hit this 10 years old, and those kind of mistake, it's damned to happen, basically. It's doomed to happen, and at some point, and the reason why it happened in it by itself, for the card game in it by itself to learn from their mistake in a way, and that's what the nature of this kind of card game really are. And that's why I kind of don't agree. If you play the card game that you enjoy, of course, but you cannot just say like, oh, Vanguard is dying, so I'm just going to play Digimon where it's much healthier. It's not, the concept is not like that, where like if you move to Digimon, then you're not going to face the problem that what Bushiro actually have with the card game. It will happen even with Digimon by itself. At some point of time, Digimon will have like this, if actually explode in the highest kind of like glorious what Vanguard are, like along Yu-Gi-Oh, they will face the issue where like a band problem, product issue, and the ratio of the booster and things like that. They will face this kind of problem. Even like, as if I may say, a good example is Body Fight. Early Body Fight is pretty healthy. The game works fine and things like that. Now Body Fight is basically got cancelled. Things like that. That's why I kind of want to say is that, like, moving to another card game just because like you may think this card game, oh, this card game is going to die, so I'm just going to move to another card game where it's much healthier and it's new. It's not like that. The concept is much more complicated than that. You can say like, oh, I don't think Vanguard is fun anymore, so I'm going to play Digimon. That's valid. I agree with it. Play things that you enjoy. Don't play a game that you don't enjoy. So things like that. So that is why I was kind of like saying that, more or less, if you play the card game, play that you enjoy, but you cannot just say like this game is going to die and I'm going to move on expecting that they're not going to make the same mistake as what Vanguard did or even other card game did. Like, yeah, if you kind of like do a lot of research or just watch a lot of content creator around the TCG, like the top 4 at least, other than Pokemon of course, you may see this similar problem and you may think like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have power creep. No, Yu-Gi-Oh have power creep. Like, it's even more high roll than Vanguard. Like, especially nowadays, it's kind of like same as Luard. What Yu-Gi-Oh kind of like high roll kind of like moment is like Luard did. It's the same thing where you just play and you die. Kind of like Gabriel is a good example to it. And Yu-Gi-Oh faced this kind of problem like in like Firewall. I think like in 2 years, like when Firewall is actually released, where the game is not fun anymore, where people just play the game and they didn't even need to get their turn and they just die or things like that. It happened, like even in Yu-Gi-Oh! And so Yu-Gi-Oh! Now is at least nowadays a little bit better, even though now it's kind of the same as like Vanguard did. If you just keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! So it looked really similar. And I'm not saying that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is bad. No, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is good. They are in the top 3 for a reason after all. And it's just weird to see kind of like, wow, it's not really too much of a difference than Vanguard did. And so yeah, it's just eye-opening to see that those kind of things. Even a card game as old as Yu-Gi-Oh! That have this mediocre problem like Vanguard did sometimes. Kind of like product issue, or the anime is bad, or just like the product is just off course and like the product have nothing, like the meta is not changing and the ban list is confusing. What I mean is that kind of like the ban list is not, if I may say, just not really as people want it to be, kind of like that. It happened and it's doomed to basically happen, I'm sorry, to most of the card game, if not all of the card game, have and need to face this kind of problem. And that is why that I can ensure that no, Vanguard is not going to die. Now the reason why is that, first of all, the problem is so similar to what other card game does. I don't see it that it's going to be that way. Now, the other hand that I also want to say to just wrap things up in today's video basically is that Overdress is a good, if I may say, rendition or just reboot that I ever see for a card game basically. Now, due to being now like, if you think about it, like even with having like V Premium, it's a positive change in a way, because like now we have a lot of option to play your Vanguard. Now you have also a lot of option to your basically kind of like, for new player basically, it is what it is. It's really weird to see like now this reboot, if you're taking a look at not too highly, or just like if you think about it in a slightly kind of like, where let's just think about it, where you have 3 format, which I think, yeah, 3 format it sucks, which I hopefully like and the Body Fight team can just go into the Overdress team, helping them with the format and things like that, to make like this much more fun environment. Because like more format means more player to more people that play the game technically, because like there are people that maybe love V Premium, that maybe people love D series, maybe people love Premium. Yeah, because like V Premium and Premium, it's different yet the same. It's kind of like that. It's different enough to make another format basically, and I think that's a good idea for it because now people can play it for nostalgia, people can play it for the competitively, people can play it for the more complicated competitively. Now yeah, it's a good thing because like now Yu-Gi-Oh have this kind of problem where they really hungry for rotation due to being the ban list got is a lot hectic, and a lot of product that is just released is not, sometimes it's just can power creep the whole thing basically. So yeah, and this is just an eye-opening to, hopefully eye-opening to all of you that watching today, that like even the big three of the card game have problems. Even Magic the Gathering, kind of like last year, where they have like standard problem where the product didn't make the standard format fun. And there are people perspective basically, because I just watched the content creator for information to make this video, even though whatever it's still pro and cons, but it's still technically an issue. An issue is not need to proven to be wrong and things like that. An issue is something that where some of the people may don't agree with this kind of changes or things like that. And it's a good thing to have an issue because like without an issue you have no idea what the problems really are. And that's just another information that I can give to you basically right now. So hopefully this video is kind of helpful to you, and if you think that like Vanguard is going to die, no it's not. We still just on the face or like this wall where a lot of card game needs to overcome. And when Vanguard hit their 11th anniversary, I believe that they will have this a lot of future ahead of them with a lot of format, which is I hopefully they will support it with, because they even Vanguard have a lot of cancellation on their own card games. Hopefully a lot of people that work in, for example, Buddy Fight can help like Vanguard to make a better format, better card game, and better cards for people to play. Because like more format, which is makes basically the game technically way healthier than before. Yes, the I guess you can say like, well, it's make the community divided or things like that. Well, it's kind of like that, but it's just kind of like it's if I may say, just like I said, just like I said before, it's kind of like a wall where we need to overcome basically as a community and as for the company by itself. And Vanguard Overdress is a huge leap, and it's another way for them to overcome the wall where it's do or die also for Vanguard, if I may say. But I think they nailed it. People loved it, and some people didn't agree with it. So hopefully that with this kind of video, if you don't agree with like these changes that they have in Vanguard, I believe that this is a positive change for them, because like V-Series is not healthy enough, and even little changes not won't change anything for standard in V, where when they create this D-Series, basically it's now a much more brighter aspect to the future of the card game. Now yeah, hopefully you find this video helpful. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And tomorrow or just in a couple of days I'm going to make another Vanguard discussion video, due to being like, if not it's before Tuesday stream or after Tuesday stream. So there are a lot of things that we are going to talk about today. So yeah, and I'm going to say it again, Vanguard is not going to die. And hopefully this video, it's a good information for you and eye-opening for you, that a lot of TCG you need to overcome this kind of wall where Vanguard technically like trying to overcome this wall where a lot of card game basically needs to overcome. And so yeah, I think Vanguard have a good future, and yeah, we'll see basically after the Tuesday stream. So yeah, I'll see you then in the next video. Bye for now.